Whirled.
Welcome to the Everything Podcast, and in this episode I am going to be recapping Peacemaker Season 1, Episode 1, titled A Whole New World. And this episode was originally released on the 13th of January 2022, and I'm recording this episode just over 2.5 years later, on the 30th of July. No, that's not right. 3.5 years later, on the 30th of July 2025. But before I get on with my recap of the episode, here is the Peacemaker Season 1 trailer.
Have you ever heard of a guy named Peacemaker?
No.
He is a trained killer. We've got trouble with that maniac.
Go! What are you waiting for?
That thing better not crap back there.
Can't house train an eagle, dude. Not without stealing its soul. Hey, Dad. It's been kind of a rough go for me lately, Dad.
You don't say.
Somebody shot me, a building fell on me.
You let somebody shoot you?
It's not like I invited him to come shoot me, Dad.
Pathetic.
I thought you were in prison for life.
I work for the government.
Post office?
You think they'd let me out of prison to deliver mail?
I don't know. It's the first government job I could think of.
I kill people for it, okay?
This task force doesn't officially exist, which leaves us on our own.
We call our targets butterflies. They are a serious threat to the safety of American citizens.
There's something weird going on. You think me and Vigilante are too stupid to notice.
Hey, everyone, which one's me and which one's Eagly?
Okay, you're half right, but you score 50% of the test at school. What do you get? A D. School was my bag. It's for dorks.
That guy's a clown.
But there's something about him that's sad. Is he a target in sight?
Peacemaker, take him out.
Even the kids?
Yes, terminate him immediately. Take the shot.
He told me to kill kids. He didn't say why.
Because right now the world needs a son of a bitch. And you're the only one I got.
I thought you loved peace, no matter how many men, women, and children you needed to kill to get it.
I don't know. Lately I'm having feelings about things. Dad, maybe I'm a grower, not a shower.
What?
An individual you don't like, and then you learn to like.
You're comparing yourself to a chode.
Not in a bad way.
Your dad is not a good man.
Still family.
My advice? Cut it out with the introspection. The mind is a den of scorpions better left running from, not towards.
You just got shot at! You ever been shot at?
No.
Two jerks in costumes and a couple of rejects.
It's like a real team out there.
Yo, what the hell is that?
It's a grenade I tied to a Russian tank shell.
Why not just the grenade?
Grenade blows up like 2 people.
How many people does this blow up?
I don't know. I invented it this morning.
What?
Eat peace, mother.
That was the Peacemaker Season 1 trailer, and I showed you that because I'm about to recap Peacemaker Season 1, Episode 1, titled A Whole New World. And I didn't actually explain before the trailer why I'm recapping Peacemaker Season 1 and at this moment, and that's because Peacemaker Season 2 is on the way. And by the time we're seeing this, and as of time of recording actually, because like I mentioned in a previous episode, there's a shorter gap than usual between recording episodes and the episodes being released due to work commitments. That kind of, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, that it's yes, because Peacemaker season 2. I kind of distracted myself. Comes out in a couple of weeks. Anyway, so without further ado, here is my recap of Peacemaker season 1, episode 1, titled A Whole New World. We start off with a recap of the Suicide Squad, which includes Waller introducing Chris, also known as Peacemaker. The Suicide Squad learn of their mission. Peacemaker kills multiple people, including Rick Flag. Bloodsport shoots Peacemaker. Task Force X, Hardcore, and Economos betray Amanda Waller. Someone believes Chris is lucky. This doctor mentions Tinder. This doctor gives Chris some advice whilst discharging Chris. Chris speaks to Jamal. Jamal congratulates Chris. Jamal believes Chris can't trust him. Jamal mentions MIT. Chris believes he should be in prison. Jamal laughs at Chris believing he is a superhero. Chris reveals he is Peacemaker to Jamil. Jamil mentions Aquaman. Chris reveals his feelings on Aquaman. Jamil believes Peacemaker is racist. Chris retrieves his Peacemaker costume. Chris is now wearing his Peacemaker costume. Someone messages Mr. Mern, informing them of Chris's arrival. Chris gets in a taxi and asks him to drive. Chris celebrates. Someone mentions James Bond. Someone reveals their dream baby names. This person attempts to reassure Kia. This person and Kia kiss. This person receives a message from Mr. Mern. This person and Kia reaffirm their love for each other. Chris attempts to pay his taxi driver in Quarto Maltese money. The taxi driver convinces Chris to give him his helmet. Chris breaks into his own house. Chris accidentally injures himself. Chris has a lot of missed calls and emails. Chris listens to some voicemails from Vigilante. Hardcore, Economos and Adebayo point their weapons at Chris. Chris yells and swears repeatedly. Mr. Mern questions Chris. Chris mentions Rick Flag and Amanda Waller. Mern introduces himself, Hardcore, Economos and Adebayo to Chris. Adebayo reveals how she feels about working with everyone else. Mern mentions Project Butterfly. Chris recalls why Project Starfish was called Project Starfish. Chris asks for a jetpack. Chris misunderstands. Mern threatens Chris multiple times. Chris believed Economos dyes his beard. Chris plans on retrieving his psychic eagly. Someone recognizes Peacemaker. This person mentions Batman. Chris insults this person. Chris reunites with his dad. Chris reveals he was in hospital for 5 months. Chris's dad believes Chris is pathetic. Chris and his dad disagree. Chris's dad raises his voice at Chris. Chris and Eagly reunite. Chris strokes Eagly. Eagly hugs Chris. Chris's dad abandons Chris. Hardcore relocates Adebayo's belongings. Hardcore mentions Amanda Waller. Hardcore reveals why Waller hates her and Economos. Economos notices a piano. Economos both compliments and insults Adebayo. Chris and his dad eat together. Chris mentions Bloodsport and Ratcatcher. Chris reveals Bloodsport is scared of rats. Chris, his dad and Eagly laugh together. Chris fetches his dad a glass of water. Chris reveals Bloodsport shot him. Chris's dad insults Chris. Chris's dad explains what various helmets do. Chris's dad reveals he didn't care about Chris whilst he was in prison. Hardcore, Economos, Adebayo and Mern are eating dinner. Chris joins them in his full Peacemaker outfit. Chris corrects Hardcore. Hardcore insults Chris. Chris introduces everyone to Eagly. They mock Chris for naming his eagle Eagly. Chris orders something. Adebayo corrects Chris. Chris insults Hardcore and Economos. Mern gives Chris a reality check. Chris seems to threaten Mern. Vigilante attempts to get Chris's attention. Economos attempts to help Chris. Chris insults Economos. Chris reluctantly takes off his helmet. Vigilante celebrates seeing Chris. Adrian dances. Adrian lies to someone. Adrian mentions Sharon Osbourne and abortions. One of Adrian's co-workers wishes Adrian good luck. Adrian mentions Peacemaker. Chris and Eagly reunite. Chris compliments Eagly. Eagly bites Adebayo. Chris reveals Eagly hugged him. Adebayo warns Chris. Chris notices Adebayo's wedding ring. Chris reveals that he doesn't trust Myrn. Adebayo corrects Chris. Chris mentions the size of his privates. Chris dances whilst driving. Chris finds where Hardcore is and checks on her. Hardcore insults a man. Chris and Hardcore reunite. Chris and Hardcore compromise. Hardcore fights a man. Chris is seemingly attracted to Hardcore. Hardcore believes Chris is acting like a stalker. Hardcore asks Chris to leave. Chris apologises to Hardcore. Hardcore raises her voice at Chris. Hardcore swears at Chris. Chris sleeps with a woman. Adebayo updates Waller. Adebayo defends Economos. Adebayo has Chris's diary. Adebayo believes Chris is sad. Waller is Adebayo's mum. Chris looks through the woman he's sleeping with's record collection. Chris plays one of these records. Chris sings and dances. Chris thanks the woman he slept with. Chris mentions God and Eagly. Chris and the woman he just slept with fight. The woman Chris slept with currently possesses a knife. Chris uses perfume as a weapon. The woman drags Chris as well as throwing him through a wall. Chris jumps through the window. Eagly flies away. Chris uses his helmet to explode the woman he's just slept with who was attacking him. Chris and Eagly reunite. Chris thanks Eagly and Chris's dad informs Chris what another of the helmets does. And that is my recap of Peacemaker Season 1, Episode 1, titled A Whole New World. Obviously my recaps of the rest of Peacemaker Season 1 will arrive at some. I'll be doing them at some point, as well as Peacemaker Season 2 when that starts being released. But in the comments below, let me know what you thought of Peacemaker Season 1, Episode 1, titled A Whole New World if you watched it. My recap, if you didn't, you put your thoughts on both of those in the comments below. As well as anything else you want to cover channel, such as any previews or recaps, put those in the comments below as well. Just a reminder that now 2 podcast episodes being released every single day, with the first episode releasing at 11 AM GMT and the second episode releasing at 3 PM GMT. And without further ado, I will see you in another episode of the podcast. See you then. Goodbye.